Recording now, live. All right, as always, we always go over ES. That's the first thing we always go over when going live. All right, I don't know why this is doing this. Now it's gonna take time. Okay, I can work with that. Still not too bad. Okay, let's change this up. All right, so we're looking at ES weekly. Let me add my 14 and 30 SMAs, load those up there. Snapback, perfect. Okay, going into this week, I'm looking for much more of an upside than a downside. We did a nice vacuum last week on the weekly for ESF and SPY, XPX, or whatever you trade. You guys know I'm very big on boxes. 30 minutes. They form on many different time frames. 30 minutes, hourly, 4 hours, daily, weekly, and monthly. Basically, it's like people say monthly up rotation or something like that, or outside up, or I don't use those fancy terms or whatever. I just call it a box. Box always happens with, and as you can see here, it's either, in an uptrend, it's a big red engulfing candle followed by either a spinning top or a hammer. And then the next candle should perform what we call a engulfing candle or outside, where it's basically outside up. We're going to be looking at least 3,000 this week on ES. I don't see why not. There's a lot of resistance and a lot of supply there. So I'm going to actually go into details with that right now. 1430 SMA, we tested that last week in one shot. Nice vacuum down. Monthly, we have to look at the monthly also because that's very important. We haven't touched a 30 SMA in a while. Not in a while. We haven't touched a 30 SMA since, it's not bad either. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. This hammer here, it just showing me that we have more upside. Why? The monthly's not done yet. This monthly's not over. So this can actually backfire. So just keep that in mind. This can definitely backfire us. Like I told you, this is engulfing green candle. Then we have a spinning, not a spinning top, but like a doji, right? Gravestone or whatever. And then we have, this can still come back down here. And where it comes back down to this channel here. As long as we stay in the channel, we're still in a bull market, as I told everybody that. Other than that, there's no bear market until we're basically outside of this range. We've been in this range for years. So any noise that people tell you, just tell them, listen, when we're under a break below, what is that, 2480, 2480, and then we're in the bear market. But for now on, if we hit another all-time high and close into the end of the year above 2970, we're definitely targeting 3,500. We have it's going to be a huge extension, and amazing one. All of these big drawbacks, these big pullbacks are actually very healthy and they are needed. They're basically pulling in a lot of new blood. Over 3,057. Then we got 3231. It just gets more better than that. Somebody's chatting and I asked them not to chat during live. Nobody listens. Here's a daily view for ESF. I like this flag here forming as well. And it likes to flag around 2882.15 or 2882 or 2882.25 because it's to the nearest 25 cents. And we're trading below the 14 and 30 SMA. So you guys know what happens with that. This is what happens with the 14 and 30 SMA with price. Here we'll get that. We'll test it. We'll probably burn right through and go to the 30 SMA after we test the 14 SMA, and then come back down, and then we'll head back up, and we'll probably set a new all-time high. Everybody's anticipating a fade when we test a new all-time high. I'm not saying right away we're gonna basically fade, but I want us to get at least a little bit above 3057 or 3057. It'll get there, test this blue bar at the top, this trend line, get there, and then we'll come right back down. I mean, it's not much. It just follow price action. We got some good price action going on right now in futures, and I like it. But this flag, I mean, it can't go unnoticed. The trend is your friend. Stick to it. Look at it. We got a nice box here. I'll show you another box. There's another box here. This is a box on a daily. Red down, spinning top, green up, and then straight to the 14 and 30 SMA. Another box here. Red down, green hammer, green, and then all the way back up. Stop, and also I want you guys to stop trying to create things that are not here just to make it look good. You know, boxes, how boxes work, you don't just throw boxes around. How boxes work is it's a pattern. It's like basically pattern recognition, not with the software, but with your eyes. It's a visual. You see a pattern, like, okay, every time the price is under the 14 or 30 SMA for an extensive time, like this is the daily chart. So we have, and under here, we have you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we have 7 candles since under the 14 SMA here. With my arrows, we have breakdown below here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candles since the 14 SMA. All the way down, comes back up. You have 7 candles. Comes up. Today we should hit the 14 SMA. 14 SMA is trading somewhat around, what is this? Oops. 1 second. 2950. So we should possibly see 2950 tomorrow, which is another 24 points from here. But just because the 14 SMA says 2950, you have to remember it's trending downwards, which is always good. So that means it's going to be somewhere around 2948 to 2950. So around there, I like to drop it like 2 points from wherever the 14 SMA is showing. But if it vacuums up, we still got to get a vacuum. We got to get that vacuum. That vacuum is definitely needed. We had the vacuum for the weekly, so now we get the vacuum for the daily to vacuum up. This is just forming great. I love watching the 4 hour H4. Very constructive, looks clean. That 14 SMA is just holding pretty well. That's ascending triangle, and then this can be an ascending triangle, asymmetrical triangle, pennant, and a flag. There's so many different things you can see. A cup and handle as well too. I like that 14 SMA support. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. That was for basically prepping for this week. Now let's talk about our stocks. Let's talk about what we're going to be looking at. So today, I was actually looking at charts a lot today. Usually, I like to wait till nighttime, but I like to, on my travels, I like to go over the watch list stuff. I look at everything even on Fridays because when I'm traveling, it helps. So with that being said, bios have my attention. Why they have my attention is a lot of people inbox me daily. I actually have like a Facebook inbox group with 3 of my favorite people on Twitter. And it's not just bouncing ideas, but they always come to me and we talk, and they ask me my thoughts because they know these are the I'm a bio freak. I love the bios. So you guys know I love BIIB. I love REGN. I love CI. I love HUM. I love ANTM. I put a lot of people on these before they were even trading them. And the reason I love them is I like their range. Their range is very important. They move big when they move. So BIIB is on our radar.
Regeneron is on our radar. CI is on our radar, which is Cigna. Hum is on radar. BRTX is always on radar. These are always on radar. Sometimes I can't watch all of them, but I am watching them. If I don't talk about them, doesn't mean I'm not watching them. The reason I don't talk about certain ones is because they are not ready. Twitter's been going on about BIIB all the past 2 weeks. I haven't talked about it at all. I just keep saying buyers are ready. Regeneron, same thing. People are like, oh, it's ready. I'm like, it's not ready. It needs to get back. We need another dip below 300. Let me get to that right now. I was talking to a buddy on Twitter. He trades by himself. Awesome guy. No, it's actually Regeneron. I get to BIIB later. And I'm going to tell you why I feel like they're ready. So check this out. This is a daily chart. I like when anytime Regeneron goes on the 300, it is considered a long-term buy. Not a short-term buy, a long-term buy. Long-term meaning buy with time. Why? Because you get better on the premium with time than you get short-term. Because you're over here, right now the price is at 304.89. People are like, oh, it has a big weekly range. So I'm going to open 315s Monday. That's not a very smart move. That's not a very smart thing to do. You want to always buy time. Anytime it's under 300, you have to pay attention to how price reacts. And every time price is under 300, everybody buys it up. They buy it up. Let me show you. Because if they didn't want it, if they wanted it below, if they didn't want it below 300, I'm wording that right, but every time this is under 300, this box is under 300 here. Every time it gets into this box, it's a buy, long term. And this is pretty tight. And this is a nice asymmetrical triangle. You can call it a falling wedge. It is very constructive. It looks very nice. The target is 320. The next time Regeneron gets over 320, that's when you confirm your long to go for a couple of months out or a couple of weeks out. So here, this is a daily, this is an H4. Let me get you the daily chart. The reason I'm going over these things is because I don't want you guys, because people are like, oh, what's the best strike to buy and this and that. How you look for strikes is you need to confirm a lot of things before you look for strikes. And when you get into a position, let me remove that. When you get into a position, what's very important, especially if you're like, oh, I can make a lot of money if I buy out the money and it gets a big move, but you never know when the big move is going to happen. So you always do tests, and you always see me when I do test small. When I say in small or testing, if I'm testing, it's one contract. If I'm in small, it's actually 2 to 3 contracts max. So keep that in mind to reference that. So Regeneron. So for this week, I'm looking at 305 to 315 calls. To open Monday, no. I'm watching those. But if I was to open Monday, I would honestly look for a back test. I want it to come right back under, possibly open just below the close, somewhere around 303. If Regeneron opens below 300, if it ever gets below 300, go straight for the 305s easily. When Regeneron is down 5 points after it's been up 7 or 8 points in a day, the following day it's down 5 points. This is a secret. It's not even a secret. This is a trick I use. This is what I did with NOC. NOC, I was only going to buy 5 points out, and the price had to be under $1. So while we were trading NOC, I was telling the team, I'm watching it. I want to see. I'm looking at 370s. I don't know if anybody else pay attention, but usually when I focus on something, you guys buy it before I do, or you guys ask me, is it good or whatever? I'm like, I like it here. So with NOC, it was only down 2 points. Then it was green, 60 cents. And then I'm like, if they bring this down 5 points, I'm going to go long the 370s, because 5 points down, the low of the day was 364. I'm like, oh, these 370s are going to work. Why not? It already hit a new all-time high for the week. And if it breaks the all-time high, they're gonna push it another 2 to 3 points above that. So the all-time high was 372.94. So once they broke that, it got to 374.64. And so the contracts went from 20 cents to 450. So that was over 2,000%. 2,050%. It did pretty well. So when you're trading BIOGEN, you have to look at ranges. Look at the daily candle range. Look at the weekly range. You want to look at the daily candle range more towards the end of the week, and you want to look at the weekly range more at the beginning of the week, like a Monday. So when I open up on my weeklies, for example, here we go. Here's a weekly of Regeneron. So weekly range, how I'm going to play this. There's a big vacuum coming. A big vacuum coming. We have been below the 14 and 30 for a while, since April. Actually, wait, what is this? Yes, since April. Before in the downtrend, when that's happened, we were in there from 2018 of October all the way. I mean, we couldn't get back above. We haven't tested the 30 SMA until July. But here, it's more basing out. This one is more falling here. Let me actually duplicate this. I want to duplicate this so I can just show you guys something. Because people are like, oh, I'm buying the bottom. This is the bottom. This has to be the bottom. This has to be the bottom. You just keep buying it and you keep saying this has to be the bottom. Bottoms get confirmed by candles. Candles confirm that. Price confirms that. And a lot of things it is difficult to buy a bottom. It is difficult. You get lucky when you get a bottom. So this is a falling one. This one is more steep. This is more constructive. This one is just free falling. Nice bounces on the weekly, then come right back down. Just free falling. Getting bought as it goes down, but it's free falling. There's gonna be, I see the 14 SMA coming around. No, the 30 SMA coming to 342. I've been looking at 345 calls about a month to 2 months. I think it was September. This is a weekly. So by a weekly chart, we're trying to find some ground to get right over this 14 SMA. So we've been rejecting that right now. And I'm going to give it this week to see how we trade this week with the 14 SMA. Once you get that first close at the 14 SMA on the weekly, it is definitely a signal to start looking 2 weeks out. So if the price, let's just say this week we close above the 14 SMA around, let's say 310. That's the first confirmation. We need 2 to 3 more confirmations. Because by the second confirmation, it'll either vacuum to the 30 or it will take the third confirmation and vacuum to the 30. For example, this is like a little lesson, and then we're going to, because we're looking at Regeneron for this week anyway. So here we closed at the 14 SMA on the weekly. The next week it just vacuumed to the 30 SMA. See, but this is a smaller range compared to this. So if we close this week above it, let's say we close right here, and now we're trading above the 14 SMA, we would need some significant news to vacuum this high. This would be like a 40-point move. You understand? So you have to pay attention to your signals. Like this 30 SMA needs to come down some more. So what I usually do in these cases, I have to draw. This is why I add Fibonacci extensions, because I want to see where's the demand at? Where's the supply going to be at for a big move if they do push it, right? So from this low here, I'm going to go to this high here. I want to bring it down to the current low that we have right now. So our 30 SMA is going to come to 338. So 338 in about 3 weeks. No, make it a month with time. Or see, it's coming down to 349. By the third week, it should come down to 338. So when it vacuums, it's going to vacuum above 338 between 349 to 338. Keep that in mind. This is why I like using fibs. I remove them, I add them, I remove them. It works. I love it. So going forward, this is a weekly. So we're going to look at the daily. Move this up. Just draw my fibs here. I can draw my fibs here. I could do it on a computer better than mobile. Why? Because Computer has that horizontal access, so I like it. Boom. So 318, right? So we got 318 double bar. Every time price gets close to that, it gets rejected. But we have in higher lows. This is what I like as well. So I can actually remove this falling wedge here, or I can actually activate it, change it up. And what I'll do is this. I'll use this low. Oops. Boom. Activate. Fix that. Boom. And this is what we have here. Bingo. Very tight. It's a very tight range we have right now. It breaks up or breaks down. 1430 SMA. 14 is actually crossed above the 30. So this week we're looking at around max 312. If we get 315, that would be nice. But depending on how we open, I like to see us open over the 14 to 30 SMA. We're closed at the 30 SMA here, as you can see. We closed at the 30 SMA. So I want us to open at the 30 SMA and then bounce off of it. If we do come down, if we gap down on Regeneron, that's a buy signal. So if we gap down to say 303, I would take the 305s and the 307s and possibly 310. I want to scale. I want to see which one works out. Me, I play size when I'm playing in the money and at the money. And then when I play near the money, which is about 2 points to 3 points out, I decrease my size. If I buy like 5 contracts of the 3, let's say we open at 304. We have a small tiny pullback to 303. I'll take the 305s, right? I'll take the 305 calls. I'll buy 5 of them. And then what I'll do, if that somewhat confirms in a day, I'll scale in 1 contract in the 307s. At the same time, I scaled into the 305s. But the premium, there's going to be a big premium difference. That's the thing. The more farther out you are, if in one day there's a big move that goes to 310, let's say Monday, it opens down to 302 and goes straight to 310. You can get an easy 200% on the 310s as opposed to getting a 300. Then you can get it easily 200% on the 310s. Then you would be able to get on the 305s. It's just how it works. It's like a premium booster. It's crazy. I love it. I love how that works. And if you can time it right, you can make fast money. And then you get out of it, and then that's when it really adjusts. The first hour, you can get like a premium boost. And then after the first hour, all of that adjusts. So keep that in mind. So that's Regeneron. The strikes, they come and go. I just want you guys to focus on the levels because you're using these levels, your supports and your resistances, as the key to go long or short and what strikes to buy. Your strikes should be pertaining to your resistance and your supports. So if you're going to short something, your support should be where you want to buy a strike. So I'm looking at here, we closed at this mid-level here of 304.70, right above it. Maybe come out at 302.91. If we come over down to 302.91, I'm going to go long 305s and I'm going to take 310s. I would take 315s the following week as opposed to 315s this week. But you have these levels, so you use them. And I will have these up in the morning tomorrow too. So there's a play that I'm really loving. It's not getting that much attention anymore. People hated it because of it was dying, but it looks ready. Friday had a nice move. I mean, this past week had a nice move. ICPT. I never traded this thing ever in my life, but I have to trade it. I don't care about the past moves it had. It doesn't predict the future. So whoever tells you that, oh, in the past it did this, no, but in the present it hasn't moved much. But this is like the weekly range, and I like it a lot. This one needs to be bought with time. This one reminds me of Selge. I don't know why. I look at the premiums, the strikes, 50-cent increments. I like those as well. It has a vacuum due for the weekly, but the time that's the tricky part. It's finding the time when to buy. Is this the bottom? Can we confirm this the bottom? Can this be an inside weekly? Next stop is 76. So what I would do for this to reach that, sometimes I usually do is I draw boxes. I draw boxes from whatever the low is here. So this is the low. I'll draw a box and move it up to where the 14 SMA is. And then I'll start, like, I'll draw a trend line as well. This gives me an idea. You see how the 14 SMA is falling down. So boom, I'll do something like this. So this is basically how the 14 SMA is going to move, right? So around here, we're going to hit the 14 SMA is like 72. And that's around September. So the beginning of September, September 6th, 72 calls with time. That's a couple of weeks out, which is not too bad. Well, like three weeks out. So 1, 2, 3. For it to hit even 92, it would probably have to get leaps for this play. But I'm liking this one this week as well. I definitely want to play this one. Let me clear this up. I'm looking at different strikes. Not much action is happening on the call or put side, which I like. So it's very quiet. And I have a feeling that once we get into it, somebody's going to probably notice, not just notice us, but somebody's going to start taking their position. This is a weekly, so keep that in mind. There's a monthly. I like it. I'm not sure why is it down like this, but I like it. And if this is the monthly bottom, this could be pretty good. Nice move to 73 on the month. We can look at the end of month 73 calls. I mean, the month ends in about 3 weeks. Well, it's the 16th, 23rd, and then the 30th. So 3 weeks. No, this week, 2.5 weeks for monthly closes. So that's good. Looking at the daily, see how the daily acts with the 14 and 30 SMA. It's already look like it's about to cross. So I like this. This is beautiful here. 14 finally closed above the 30. Well, sorry, price closed above the 14 on 2 confirmed candles. Hasn't done that since April. This is pretty good. So targeting 73 possibly this week. Let's see how this works. I mean, an inside day tomorrow will be nice, which is basically when the price is basically remains inside this candle here. But like I tell you guys, we're going to test the 14. We'll probably gap up. Let's say we gap up, test the 30 SMA tomorrow, or let's say by Wednesday. And then we come back down, test the 14 SMA, and we'll probably get a nice boost off of that. So keep this one in mind. Keep this one very close. I like this one a lot. You got some levels for that as well. It's holding pretty well. Very clean. IDXX, another one on my radar. IDXX. I like this one. Very, very clean chart. Easy to chart. Why? I mean, you can draw your fibs if you want. Very simple. Nothing to complicate. It works perfectly. Nice and clean. I like this for 286. 290s would be a stretch. I mean, it's very possible to hit 290. Why not? But definitely see it hitting 290. It had a nice move from the past few days. Came as low as 255, closed up 278. Had a nice week from last week, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Monday had a gap down and from there took off. Closed about the 14 SMA inside the 14 and 30. I want to see price reopen at the 14 SMA tomorrow. If it does that, I'm looking at the 280s and the 290s. I like this one very much. This one is on my radar, big time. I mean, the trend is beautiful as well. Nice little handle too coming. Gets over 286.32, 290 is the next level. And I haven't actually did an extension on this one with a channel. I haven't seen the channel. Let me see. Hold on. Remove. Clean. Look how clean that is. By September, or over 300. Looking at the September 300 calls would be nice too as well. Mostly end of month for those. Who we have next up? CI, an old friend of ours. I like this one a lot. Very clean chart as well. I charted this on my travel. I mean, chart is pretty clean, pretty simple. Don't complicate it, nothing to complicate. Everything just lines up pretty well. Falls into play. Closed above 169.05. So I'm bullish, targeting 185 with time, about 2.5 weeks. So with 2.5 weeks, meaning I actually looked at these strikes for these. I was looking at 170s, 172, 175, and 177s for this week. Because this gets big moves, so keep that in mind. 14 is actually below the 30 SMA, so this is actually great. I want price to come back down below 169.05 and take the 175 starter. It's pretty clean chart. There's no better than that. I can even draw a channel here. To give you guys an idea, like time frame, how this is gonna work out, how it's gonna bounce off. Netties, we're still in netties for next week. AGN, we're still in that. I'm liking netties. I'm playing netties for a long time. As I told you guys, I'm playing that for a very long time. Biogen, I like this one a lot. It's been basing for months now, since March. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 months. Time to get out of that range. Has a lot of upside, and I mean a lot. I have a feeling we're gonna see a lot of bios have like a mean candle coming. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna come. I mean, it's definitely a buy anytime it dips below 230. Definitely a buy. But I like this. I like this chart a lot. Has room. Weekly. I mean, people can classify this as a bear flag. I mean, definitely. But the way the 14 and 30 SMA is supporting, if you look at the past, use that as well. How it acts on the 14 and 30 SMA. After coming down, gets in there. Once it gets out of it, it vacuums up after that. 260. 260 with time, possibly for October. But this has to get above 240 to do anything, to get any real move. Maybe one more test of the 14 SMA, and I'll take a nice long for the 260 calls, possibly outside of October. Maybe I'm thinking next earnings report, bios are going to do great. I sent a nice megaphone too. Reminds me of VRTX. No, it was ANTM. ANTM is still in a big megaphone. Look at this megaphone. This is going to extend, possibly hit 400 by end of 2019. I can see that happening. We had this big 100-point move down this year. I forgot what it was for again, but that's just how it works. Bios are very finicky. As you can see, we had something similar. What was this, 2015? Similar here, see? Similar. And it took a while to stabilize and do anything, but this one just kept trending down. And then it bounced off, came back up. We're still in this channel between 348.29. No, sorry, 348 and 216. Keep it at that flat. Mid-range of that is about 218, between 218 and 297. That will be your targets towards end of year, depending on what they do. If we get a bigger move to go up, any data that has to come out. So like I said, I'm focusing on bios this week. CCL still in play. Things that we made good money last week, we have to focus on. PEP is in play. NOC is in play. NOC was a great one. I wish I actually was able to, how can I say it, roll up. I wanted to roll up into the next strike for the next following week. It's just, this is beast. An inside week for NOC, and it can continue, keep going. So keep that in mind. Look how it played off. Look at these. You have this one here. You have this one here. Big move, big move. Maybe another inside week here. Not too bad, depending on how we open. But once it gets over 377, I think it's going to 400. I like this. I like this chart so much. Very clean. Direction is very clean. When going short is very clean. It's no better than that. Breaks out this purple range and extends. The highest it can go is 473, 2019, 450s. That would be crazy, but that's a 100-point move. Yeah, about a 100-point move. Very possible. And it's trending very clean too. Only stays in within the trend. See how this reacts. I'm gonna keep it like that. I got a lot of other names under my sleeve that you guys haven't probably heard of. That's been on radar. I like to nitpick things that people take a beating in. Like when I see Twitter, like everybody in Twitter like jumps into something. Just like what was it? What was that stock that it was like not IQ. It was another one that it went to like 14. Everybody was on the bandwagon going long, and then it came down to $3. We shorted it. But basically that. I like things when people get murdered. And why is because when I see everybody taking a hit off into it, that means they're giving up. So they're giving up going long. Now they're going short, which they're gonna get hit on the short side. And that's when I like to go long. So I like to play things that people will watch and they try to trade it and it just doesn't work. Like look at Netflix. We call that move Friday. It was beautiful. Not Friday, it was Thursday. Great move. All right, so I'm stopping.